What's up, everybody? We're back with another episode of Bullish Chips, where we use a proven and repeatable strategy to make money every day. This channel happens to focus on the Bullish Semiconductor ETF, which goes by the ticker symbol SOXL. But the charting method and the trading method that we use can be implemented with any company that's publicly traded in the U.S. stock market. Make sure you hit that like button if you enjoy the video. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe and notification buttons as well. That way you are alerted to when we release new videos. We do release bonus content from time to time, but the nightly and weekend videos like tonight's video, we mostly focus on identifying triggers and targets for trades ranging from scalps and intraday trades all the way up to long-term swings or leap trades. So if you want a deeper dive into exactly how we set up the charts, broadening formations, levels of support and resistance, things of that nature, make sure you check out that bonus content. We've got a couple of videos that dive deeper into that for you. And if you want a free quick reference guide PDF for the STRAT, make sure to check out the description in the video. It's a quick PDF just like this. It gives you, the major reversals and a couple of rules there for the STRAT. So, I encourage you to watch the full video. We'll get into our triggers and targets, but we do get into price action on all time frames. So hang with us, and I'm sure you'll enjoy the video if you are a new viewer. Let's go ahead and get into the agenda for today's video. We'll go ahead and recap the price action from Monday, February 2nd. Then we'll zoom out like we always do and look at the week, month, quarter, and year price action. It is the start of only a new week, but a new month today. So we just want to make sure that we are level set and not too zoomed in. Then we'll zoom back in and look at the 4-hour markers for tomorrow. That's Tuesday, February 3rd, as well as the triggers and targets for Tuesday, February 3rd. And we'll do a quick review of the triggers and targets for the week, month, quarter, and year as well. All right, let's go ahead and look at the charts here, starting with the 5-minute like we always do. This allows us to take advantage of the proven and repeatable strategy that we use to capitalize on either early scalp options or early entries into longer day trades. The general rule is look for higher lows at or above the opening print or the opening trade price. If you get higher lows at or above that opening print, you want to look to get into calls targeting overnight high and previous high a day. If we get a lower high at or below that opening print level, that's when you want to look to get into puts targeting overnight low and previous low a day. Obviously, if previous low day comes before overnight low, then that's the first target, and overnight low is the second target. Same with to the upside, but those are the two targets with this proven and repeatable strategy. So looking here, we've got price action that opened just below last week's low. So last week's low was 59.60, this purple short dash line right here. And you can see the opening print or the price level marker here in peach is the opening print, right? And unless you just bought it open, or actually I didn't even look at the 1 minute. Maybe the 1 minute had some type of higher low in here in this first 5-minute candle. But unless you had that 1 minute trade and chart open, or you just jumped in at open, you pretty much missed out on this first little jump. With as far as entering with any type of trigger, right? You could have jumped in after you start to run. You're kind of chasing at that point. You usually want to look for some type of trigger, but if that's how you want to look at it, you can do it that way. It's not a part of our plan. Our plan is looking for those higher lows at or above opening print, and we got it here beautifully. It was right at this 15-minute downtrend line. You can see we popped above, we pulled back to it, but we're able to make a higher low just above the 15-minute downtrend line, which was obviously above the opening print. And we went ahead and entered as soon as the 2 down was set, meaning this candle to the right of this 2 down. As soon as this candle went above this candle's high, that's when we bought. We got a little pullback, after we entered, but we're able to make a higher low and pushed on up to last week's 50% level. That's this longer dash purple line right here we got. Obviously overnight high and previous high a day were quite a bit further, and we are in a downtrend on the 1 hour, and possibly looking to set one on the 4 hour. So if you're familiar with how we trade, or if you watched in the video, the weekend video, we said you can take that to the upside, but just keep a tight stop, keep your risk to reward in check, as you know, we could just be setting the lower high on the 4-hour if we do make a higher high on the 1-hour. And you can see here on the 1-hour when we look at well, we can see on the 5-minute, but you can see Friday, the previous 1-hour. Let me just pull it up for you. Right, so we didn't make the higher low on the 1-hour. We made this lower high. We'll get back to that in a second, but just giving you a little bit of context of where we are in that downtrend. Right, we had made that lower low, and there was a long ways to go to make that lower high. So we held our cards pretty close to our chest here, and we actually took profit as soon as we hit the 50% level. We took half of our position off there. Watched it noodle around for a little bit more after we got this equal high, and just continued to kind of just dance on the last week's 50% level. We decided to go ahead and get rid of another 25% of the total position, so 50% of what we had left. Just don't want to play around, and we know that if the bottom drops out, it can drop out quickly. So we talk also a lot about each week how price reacts at that 50% level of the previous week. We bring it up every week, and it seemed as though this one, it wasn't breaking through like you would expect it to if momentum was going to continue strongly to the upside. So that was another reason why we went ahead and took another 25% of the total position profit right here. It pushed up, and then over here, I think it was like 130. Just in this area, we made this lower high, lower low, which actually sparked the lower high on the 1-hour, and we went ahead and took profit on the rest of our position here, which ended up basically being at last week's 50% level. So could have got rid of the whole thing in that first sale, but always want to leave some runners out there. But you can see that last week's 50% level was obviously a level of resistance here's the 1-hour downtrend line right here as well. So we pressed up almost to it, basically went as high as we could without breaking trend, and basically staying in trend to the downside on the 1-hour. Right, let's bring up the better, cleaner chart here and look at the 1-hour, and you can see we had the high, lower low. So it initially had this, let's get the right tools out. Initially we had this 1-hour broadening formation that formed here, right? High to higher high, and then low to lower low. So we have this broadening formation. You can see we went up at the end of last week, made that lower high, came down all the way to that 1-hour broadening formation, and we made that bounce there today. Let's get rid of these real quick. There we go. So we did make that lower high, and about 130 is when it did trigger. So that's what we got kicked out of the rest of our position there, but that's fine, because we'd rather take profit and be able to capitalize to the downside. We did go ahead and enter some puts to swing. The puts are February monthly expiration, so February 20th. So we did swing some overnight. It was a riskier swing. We've got AMD and SMCI earnings after hours, I believe, today. So riskier play, but hedging against the February monthly expiration calls that we still have out there. Obviously, they're still in great profit. So did kind of think about it at the beginning of the day today, letting those go. If we did get some stronger downside action, go ahead and taking profit on those. But we did get that big push in the morning, and let's just see how things get handled. Right, we did set the lower high, but earnings, economic figures in the morning, those could push us up, and we could just end this 2 down situation that we got into at the end of the day could just be the higher low on our way into reversing the trend back up. So staying patient. We're basically dead smack in the middle of this range that we've been trading in for weeks now, right? So in the middle of the range, you want to stay patient. You want to make your plays more on the edges of the range, right? Either we poke above, make some type of higher low to push up higher, or if you want to try and take the breakout, just the first push above there, you can take that as well. Or you can wait for the push up. Maybe we do a look above and fail, and you wait for some type of lower high on a smaller time frame that will domino into the higher time frames to go ahead and bring us back down to the bottom of the range. You can play, there are many different ways you can play the edges, but the key is in the middle of the range, you got to exhibit some patience. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. we did set the lower high so far on the 4 hour, and that's coming after a lower low, right? So we do have a new broadening formation on the 4 hour forming here. So we did make a lower low, but we have made a lower high so far. So we need to watch this, right? Do we go back down to the downside? Do we get a 3-2 up, 2 down reversal in that first 4 hour of Tuesday's price action to bring us back down possibly? But if we do continue to the upside, how far up do we go? We still got to get all the way up, back up to that 71.98 area, or above 71.98 to make a higher high in this time frame. So again, in the middle of the range, even if we do push up, make some type of lower high underneath 71.98, especially if we press up, we're pressing market makers expected move high for the week. If you're not familiar with that, tune into our weekend video. Or if we're just pressing past that and pressing to the previous week's highs, but fall a little bit short, that may not be the end of the world either. Yes, it's a lower high coming after a lower low, but in a broadening formation, so it would be a lower high, but it could present opportunity for us to pull back and bounce maybe off of last week's 50% level to push back to the upside, right? So in the middle of the range, just got to be patient. Again, long-term, not long-term, high time frame perspective from the week on all the way up to the year chart, it's bullish to neutral, bullish leaning at the worst. So everything is going to be played on these smaller time frames. I talked about on Thursday's video of last week that the 1 hour would be the key, and that was the key on Friday. We ended up making that lower high and pushing down pretty hard. And we talked about over the weekend to watch the 1 and the 4 hour, because they all both have the opportunity to make a lower high. So we're just in patience play for, especially like the 1 hour, 4 hour. You can play those 5-minute, 15-minute scalp plays. If you like playing those scalps, I'm not telling you not to, especially if that's something that works for you. We like to play those from time to time as well, but we do like to take moves with larger magnitude that give you a little bit more time to adjust if need be, which is why we often play, even if they're a day trade or a scalp. The expiration date is of a week out, not the same week, or a monthly. Even day trade monthly. So from our perspective, we're just going to exhibit some patience. If there's a juicy scalp to be had, we'll take it. But otherwise, we're just going to adhere to, we've set this lower high on the 1 hour. Is it going to be set on the 4 hour? What happens on the 1 hour, even if we don't set a lower low, right? We made this lower high, but what if we don't make a lower low? Now we're looking at consolidation again. So we've been in this range for a few weeks now, and it just, like I said, play the edges, right? If you want to not have to play things so quickly as a scalp, wait till we get to those edges, right? You just got to exhibit a little bit of patience. It's not too hard, right? So let's look at things from the day chart. There we go. We did get another 2 down on the day, though it was a failed 2 down, meaning we closed green. We closed much higher than we opened. So that is, neutral. It is, I don't even want to say bearish because we made bearish leaning because we made a lower low. Yes, we have made a lower low, but it's coming from a higher high. So could this, like we had on the 4 hour, a broadening formation created? Could this just be a broadening formation being created on the 1 hour, which again could just mean consolidation? So don't want to draw too much from the one day candle. Nice green solid candle, but it was 2 down. So we do just have to, again, exhibit patience. I do want to bring up the week chart though, because we did poke 2 down on the week, which we haven't done in quite a few weeks. Let's bring up a better chart. There we go. So you can see we had this 2 up shooter, as they're referred to in the STRAT community, or inverted hammer on the last week's candle. Now we did go 2 down just barely on this week's candle, and we've obviously pushed strongly back to the upside. So could this be our opportunity for the higher low on the week, right? This is why I'm saying nothing is really broken down from the week chart and up, right? The week chart, yeah, we poked down 2 down on the week, just barely for 1, and for 2, we can come all the way down here, 42 level, but really 35 level is kind of the line in the sand where we can make a higher low and continue this uptrend, right? So week chart still looking good. Month, Let's get a clearer chart up there. There we go. For the month, still looking good. Inside candle, again, only 1 day into the month, but we are in that upper half, almost upper 1/3 of the previous month's candle. So, neutral at worst, I would say. Again, we're only 1 day into the month though, so just don't get too far ahead of yourself. Now on the quarter, we've run the strat that we've talked about for a couple quarters now. This one combo 2 down, combo 2 up. So where do we go from here? Do we get that pullback? Are we going to see a stronger rejection with this monthly broadening formation here? Is it really going to snap us back in? Possibly, but chips do have some momentum going here in comparison to the rest of the market. I don't even want to say momentum, just strength. So just it's a long ways to go before we're to trigger a red quarter for one, or even a bearish engulfing candle. So everything from the quarters looking pretty good. Now, even if we don't go red on the month, this just turns into a big shooter. If we don't go red on the quarter, this could turn into a green shooter on the quarter, which can kind of go either way, right? A lot of times they're called Momo shooters if they're green, because they're still closed above where they opened, and it's just a momentum shooter. The next month we just continue, or the next quarter we just continue to move up. But just want to continue to play this by ear. Again, this is the quarter. We're only a month into the quarter, so there's a lot that still needs to be played out, right? Same with the year, right? We're only 2 months into the year now, not even 2 full months, just 1 full month and a day. So yes, we have run this 2 down, 2 up strat pretty quickly. We finished it, within a month. So again, it's just where do we go from here? It wouldn't be the end of the world if we were to get a little bit of a pullback and to gather more strength before going back to the upside. But again, I'm not talking about these big downside moves yet, because we just don't have the evidence that they're there. We're starting to get a little bit more, right? That 1 hour, we've got this lower high, lower low, lower high. We'll see if we get another lower low. But even on the 4 hour, we don't have a lower high yet, right? If this turns into a lower high, we start to change our tone on definitely the day-to-day, and start to look at the week with a little bit more scrutiny, right? Do we get some type of domino effect where we get this 2 up, 2 down that runs to magnitude, which then triggers this combo 2 up, combo 2 down that runs to magnitude, which triggers another combo 2 down, which then would trigger a 3 combo 2 up, combo 2 down, right? That there is those situations that have happened before. Just look back to 2022 and previous years, right? Even going back further before the sickness, right? So it wouldn't be surprising if it did happen. I mean, it's not out of the realm for it to happen. It would be a little bit surprising for that to fall that hard in 1 week, right? We'd probably see some type of lower high on the day chart before we get to that. But it is there. We've got plenty of room to fall. We've got gaps below to fill. So just patience is the key, right? I guess I've talked long enough. Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and zoom back in, pull up the chart. Oops, for tomorrow. If I can get it right. There we go. And actually, I think I forgot to set the 4 hour marker. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that together. So let's move the previous high a day to today's high, and then previous low a day to today's low. And let's bring up let's bring up after hours on the 5 minute. That should give us, yeah. So let's take and move our, whoa. Come on, Thinkorswim. There we go. You can see we're getting some decent push in the after hours so far. I haven't looked to see what earnings for AMD or SMCI looked like, but it sounds like they were decent. It didn't look like they were amazing because we're not, taking off, but we'll see. They may still have guidance to give, right? They may have only just reported past earnings, but still need to give guidance. So there we go. Let's get that set, and let's say the overnight high gets up to up here, presses towards the market maker's expected move high. All right. Let's bring into picture the 4-hour markers. Where is our, oops, oh, that's why. Let's get off of extended hours. There we go. Here we go. So we've got our, where's our overnight high? What happened to our overnight high? Oh, we moved it up. Yeah, there we go. All right. Get it together, Chris. There we go. So we have our, there we go. Previous low day. I'm trying to fit everything in here. There we go. Got a decent range. There we go. So as far as the 4-hour markers are concerned, the main ones we need to know about are overnight high. So we've got overnight high mapped out, previous high a day, overnight low, and previous low a day, right? Those are our targets to the upside and the downside based off of opening print, right? So let's say tomorrow morning we end up opening, right at previous high day. Not actually, let's gap up. Let's say we get a small gap up in the morning, right? What we want to look for is higher lows at or above this opening print or opening trade price to get into calls, or we want to look for lower highs at or below opening print, right? So it was very evident with Monday's price action, but this, you would want to look for the same thing. If we open with this gap up, maybe we push up to overnight high, get a little rejection, and then come back down and avoid closing the gap, showing strength, bouncing off opening print. If we get that higher low at or above opening print, we want to look to get into calls. Now the magnitude for that would be the overnight high. That's it. So not a lot of magnitude there because you're already above previous high day. So at that point, if we've got more momentum, you want to look to the 4-hour and 1-day triggers and targets that we'll talk about here in a second for your further targets. But not a lot of magnitude to the upside. That's how you would attack it though. Look for that higher low at or above opening print to get into calls, targeting overnight high and then beyond some in this case. If we were to open here, go down, close the gap, get a little bit of a bounce off of the gap close, but then end up rejecting overall back up under or at opening print, we want to look to get into puts, targeting previous high a day, which again is not a lot of magnitude there, so probably wouldn't want to let any contracts go there. But your next magnitude would be overnight low, so you would want to at least let go of maybe 50% of your position, 75%, maybe leave a few runners. If we are going down with magnitude, again, remember we are in a downtrend on the 1-hour. So even if you don't want to get rid of a chunkier position here, you do have more magnitude to the downside. What I will say is, we had those earnings. Chips have shown strength. Much more than just overall big tech. So there is that opportunity for the higher low on the 1-hour. So just keep that in mind. But overnight low is your first target. Previous low a day down here at 59.10 would be your ultimate target if you're looking for the magnitude of the lower high at or below opening print, right? So higher lows at or above opening print, get into calls. Lower highs at or below opening print, get into puts, right? Again, we talked about on the 1-hour. Let's bring up the day chart. Talk about the 1-hour. We got the lower high after the lower low. So we are in that downtrend. Watch that. But from a 4-hour perspective or more of a day trading perspective, just looking here, remember we did get left today with a 3 failed 2 up, meaning we did go 2 up, but the price did go above the high of the first 4-hour candle on Monday, but we ended up pulling back, closing not only within the previous within the previous candle's price action, but below where the current candle opened, right? So 3 failed 2 up leaves the door open for a 3 2 up 2 down, and the magnitude is all the way down here at the bottom of the 3. Again, we are in that 1-hour downtrend, so that would make sense if we were to make it all the way down there without too much support from any other intraday higher lows or anything like that. So To the downside, we do have the 3 2 up 2 down that could take place. To the upside, we would just have this 2 up continuation, which technically would be a part of a combo 2 down, combo 2 up reversal. So the magnitude of that move would be the high of Friday. Or is this Thursday? No, yeah, it's the high of Friday. That would be the magnitude of the move. That would coincide with the market maker's expected move high up here at 70.09. But if we do reach this magnitude, that does technically trigger a 1 combo 2 down, combo 2 up. That would take us back up to last week's high at 71.98. Right, so that's what we're looking at on the upside. Again, if we do trigger 2 up in that first 4-hour candle of Tuesday's price action, that's all well and good, but you just want to keep that eye out for, are we going to make a lower high on this 4-hour, right? So just keep that in mind. On the day chart, right, we had a failed 2 down today, meaning we did go lower than Friday's low, but we closed above where we opened, and we closed very well into the previous day's price action. So if we do continue that move back to the upside, that gives us that 2 down, 2 up, magnitude being the high of Friday again, right next to that market maker's expected move high. But if we continue to push up, this gives us a 3 combo 2 down, 2 up, magnitude being last week's high again. So a lot of resistance around that $72 area. If we go to the downside, we're going to get this 2 down, 2 down continuation. And, if we break through, the 4-hour broadening formation, then we're definitely just trying to go attack that gap, right? So we've talked about intraday, how the top of a gap can be a bounce point, so watch for that. We've also talked about how the 50% level of the gap can be a bounce point. So just stay on your toes, but ultimately you would want to see that gap closed and continue to push it down, right? We've got market makers expected move low down here at 53.49. So, we'll see. It's still a pretty big move to make in one day, but as you can see from the previous 2 days, that it can be made easily. So with SOXL, triple leverage ETF, high beta, we can make it there. So if we are at the market maker's expected move low for the week by the end of the day Tuesday, so be it. That's just the way SOXL moves. But just continue to keep your eye on everything, because again, we had earnings after hours today. We'll have economic numbers being reported tomorrow before open. So just looking again, we're up 2.5% in after hours. So not sure that we're going to have much downside action tomorrow, but a lot can happen overnight and in the morning. So we'll see what happens. Let's go ahead and get to our notes so we can just look at the hard numbers instead of these charts. We've been on the charts long enough. Right, so for Tuesday, February 3rd, there'll be 230 trading days left in 2026. The close price on Monday, February 3rd was 65.20, and we know that the week and the month have opened at 59.51. So we would have to go below that level to flip those the week and the month red. Right now we are full time frame continuity to the upside, meaning the week, month, quarter, year are all green. So that is advantage bulls, and another reason why from a higher time frame perspective, I say there's not much to worry about, right? Once we start breaking down, if the week and the month flip red, all right, now we start to look at things a little bit closer. Again, we start watching for those lower highs on the 4-hour, 1-day time frame, and we go from there. But as of right now, we're full time frame continuity to the upside. The market maker's expected move for the week was $8.30, giving us an expected range of 70.09 to 53.49. Again, if you're not familiar with that market maker's expected move level, check out our weekend video where we go over that. There's no gaps above currently, but we do have a few gaps below, some actually pretty close. So we always make sure we keep those in our notes. And we talked about from a scalping perspective, we're looking for higher lows at or above opening print to get into calls, or lower highs at or below opening print to get into puts. We talked about on the 4-hour time frame, if we do go to the downside, that gives us a 3 2 up 2 down, triggering at 64.37 with a magnitude of 59.10. We know how things can really start to run when we're going to the downside with SOXL. So if we do hit that 59.10 with some momentum and things continue to the downside, we've got extended targets of 58 flat and 57.22 out there for you. To the upside, if we do trigger, that triggers a combo 2 down, combo 2 up at 66.94. Magnitude of that move is 69.86, but we are in the face of a 1-hour downtrend, possibly setting a 4-hour downtrend or a lower high to start a 4-hour downtrend. So we do have an intermediate target of 68.56 where price could either stall out or possibly even turn around. So that's what we've got from the 4-hour perspective. From the day perspective, if we go to the downside, we've just got a two down continuation triggering at 59.10, the magnitude of the 4-hour move. And then we've got our extended targets here ending with the gap close at 55.44. To the upside, we would get a 2 down, 2 up reversal triggering at 66.94 with a magnitude of 69.86. Now we do, again, keep in mind that 4-hour intermediate target just because we are in that 1-hour downtrend, possibly setting a lower high on the 4-hour. But if we do just flip things and, earnings and economic numbers don't hold us back and we just start running to the upside, we do have extended targets of 71.98, 73.15. And of course, 74.21, the all-time high. I don't know that we would get to that in one day, but we've got to keep it out there because the volatility is pretty high right now, and the moves the swings are pretty big right now. So at least for SOXL. On the week, we did trigger that 2 up, 2 down, going below 59.60 briefly this morning. That does give a magnitude of 57.22. If we do continue pushing to the downside, that would be our first target, and then we've got extended targets listed out here for you as well. If we were to go green 3 or bullish engulfing on the week chart, we've got to get up over that 71.98 level. So a little bit of work to do, only about $7 away from it right now. So with SOXL, that can be done in a day. And just like that, we can have a bullish engulfing candle on the week chart, but we'll see how things go. Again, we're in the middle of the range, so we just got to play things patiently. And then if we do trigger the bullish engulfing candle on the week chart, we've got our extended targets listed out here for you as well. All right. On the month, we are inside on the month. We've got to get down to 45.08 to trigger the 1 2 up 2 down on the month. And to trigger the 2 up continuation on the month, we've got to get to that 71.98, last week's high. If we get there, we've got our extended targets listed out here for you as well. We talked about on the quarter, we triggered the 1 combo 2 down, combo 2 up. That's reached its magnitude at 70.08. So we've just got extended targets out here for you on that. And with the year, we went 2 down, 2 up, triggering at 50.76 and reaching magnitude again at 70.08. So just have the extended targets listed out here for you on that as well. But yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. Hope everybody enjoyed today's video. Try to jam in as much information as possible without taking up too much of your time, but I did ramble on a little bit at the beginning of the video there, so apologies for anyone who had to fight through that rambling, but I appreciate you if you've made it this far in the video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Really helps the channel grow. Maybe share the video with somebody if you think it might help them in their trading, because again, this isn't just for SOXL. This trading method and charting method can be used with any publicly traded company, so it goes a long way to help the channel, definitely if you share the video. So we do appreciate it, and we'll go ahead and edit like we always do. If you're watching this on Monday night, we hope you get some good rest tonight, wake up refreshed tomorrow. If you're watching this Tuesday morning or Tuesday during the day, we hope you got some good rest last night and woke up refreshed this morning, and we look forward to getting out there and trading with you.